Welcome, everyone. This is the Who is Trapper segment for social media, coming at you here from St. Mary's, Ontario. Today we have a very special guest, Emm Greiner. And let's dig right into the interview. So obviously, Emm Greiner, what is your role in the band? What do you do in the band?
My name is Emm. I am the singer, sometimes bass player and trapper.
That's awesome. And I guess a good follow-up question for that is, how would you describe trapper in 5 words?
Oh.
If you had to describe it in 5 words.
Fun, melodic, big hair. Friendship.
See, that's hilarious because Sean said the same thing. Sean, not exactly all those words, but friendship.
Aw, is that
So cute.
proves it's true.
Yeah, that's amazing. And he said that friendship came first, and then everything trickled down after that.
See, I put it last. So
you put it last?
Yeah.
So it it's like yin and yang. It like balances
it out.
Amazing. Okay, cool. So from your perspective, where did the name Trapper come from?
I believe it came from the North Bay Trappers, which is a team in Sean's hometown of North Bay.
Yeah.
And so just a little nod to his hometown.
Sure. And are you from St. Mary's, or like where did you grow up?
I grew up outside of Sarnia.
Cool.
On the shores of Lake Huron.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. One of the better lakes, I would say. That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, no, that's what he said as well. He mentioned it was, hockey team out of North Bay.
This is sort of like when like the government asks one person one question and another
Right.
person another question to make sure they know each other.
Yeah.
And then they can like enter the country. This is like a test that way.
Okay,
What if I
hopefully
get
this
it
is
totally
not like
wrong?
an interrogation. I
Got some gnarly bugs crawling around here. Anyway.
Okay, so this is actually a really, really interesting question. And it's very relevant in today's day and age where, especially being a brand as a musician and as an artist is so important, right? What would you say is Trapper's unique differentiator? What makes Trapper different from bands like it?
Well, I think we don't really we recognize the importance of that, but we really follow our own rules.
Sure.
And because Sean and I grew up in the 80s, when I think it was less about branding and more about, it seemed like it was more about music and kind of excess and just going for it.
Sure.
We like to embody a little bit of that, and that, I think, sets us apart. We're not really trying to follow the rules of modern day.
Sure.
So.
Okay. And you mentioned the word excess. Is that sort of that's a very interesting word to describe like a music genre or a band or something like that, but I love it. So do you think that is that something that Trapper consciously tries to adhere to?
It's not really conscious, this idea of excess, but I think it's in each of our personalities.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come together, then we sort of have an in-your-face sound, whether it's my vocals or Sean's guitar or Tim's drumming. And then Frank's very full-on with his production and mixing too. So it's just what we grew up with, and I think what we naturally gravitate towards. So together it's just like, there's an element to some indie rock where it's about restraint and about maybe just a bit more of a quiet approach, and we're not really going for that at all.
It's more full on.
Yeah.
And you're all just kind of like letting your big personalities shine through.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, in some ways, some of us are introverts, but when we play, it's sort of an example of us stepping into a bigger version of ourselves.
Sure. Cool. So I'm really curious to get your perspective on these questions. This is kind of a fun one. So this is kind of like a who in Trapper is most likely to type question. So we'll start with this. Who in Trapper is most likely to skydive? Frank, why?
He's already done it.
Okay.
He may have done it with Tommy Lee, actually.
Really?
He might have to verify that.
So did he used to play with Tommy Lee in his band?
I believe he recorded Methods of Mayhem. Do you know his solo project thing? So
okay.
I guess they were done recording and went skydiving. I could be making that up, but definitely Frank.
So what a way to celebrate.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, that was an easy one. Who do you think is most likely to win a Nobel Prize?
Sean.
Sean.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you say
He's
that?
an educator.
Yeah.
He's a lovely family man.
Mm-hmm.
Never hurt anyone in his life. Sean.
See, it's funny because he said everyone but himself.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
That shows that he is the most worthy.
Yeah, I
Because
see.
he's selfless.
I agree. Who in Trapper do you think is most likely to run for political office?
Tim.
Tim.
Yeah.
Okay. Why is that?
He's older. He's wiser. He's very read up on these things. He likes to look at things from all angles. So I think he'd make a great politician.
But aren't politicians supposed to fight for one angle?
Well, he could change that. So
yeah, for sure. Okay, fair enough. And who in Trapper is most likely to disappear for a year and come back with no explanation? Just nothing.
Probably Tim.
Tim as well.
I guess that wouldn't bode well for his political career.
No, you have to kind of be in the public eye.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, and who do you think is most likely to be the DJ?
Maybe Frank. Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah. He's good with his, playlists at home during dinner.
Sure.
He's probably the one who has the best handle on that.
And I feel like he has, like you said, I feel like he has a really good handle on like the mixing side of things. Like probably has a really good understanding of tech.
Yeah, as long as he wasn't dead after skydiving, he could definitely do that.
I mean, he survived, right? I'm
That's
not wrong
true.
with that.
Yeah, that's true.
And we haven't talked about like the chronology of this either, right? So like maybe he did it after he DJ'd. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
now you're making me think.
Who in Trapper do you think would be most likely to create the itinerary?
Probably me.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do our meeting agendas. They're very detailed.
Oh, yeah?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, just try to keep things in line.
That's good. So so when you guys have meetings, obviously there's a defined purpose for it and you create an agenda. You're like, this is what we're discussing.
On a good day, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do they mostly feel like hangouts or do they mostly feel like we're getting down to business?
A bit of both. Yeah, and I think that's what makes a good band is if you can enjoy yourselves, but like have a purpose. So you're just not goofing around all day.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And you guys are all so busy. It's like, you got to make purpose out of it. And last one, I guess. Who in Trapper is most likely to sleep through an alarm?
Oh, man, that's a good question. None of us, sadly.
Really?
Yeah.
We're
always awake.
Okay.
24 hours a day.
24 hours
Frank's
a day.
always up very early. Sean's been known to text me album covers at 7 a.m. Tim doesn't sleep some days. So I got up at 6 this morning. So
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we got up at 5.
Oh,
so,
you beat me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
not regular. I'll
Yeah.
tell you that. But yeah. No, that's good. It's good to be on the ball. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. What is one thing about you that not a lot of people know?
Oh, man. I play bass.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that. It was my second instrument. I
Really?
started when I was 14. Yeah. I can't really think of anything else at the moment.
So in terms of bass, so you said you started when you were 14. That's super cool. So by that, do you mean you started taking lessons or you started playing in bands? What do you mean by that?
No, we were on a family trip and we stopped in the middle of the desert to go into a music store that was in the desert.
Sure.
And I came out with this cherry red bass. It was $129. And my parents, I think, were a little upset because they thought I was going to play piano and they had invested all this money in piano lessons.
Really?
So I was super excited and yeah, I still love it. I still love playing it.
Cool. What are some of your inspirations as far as bass goes?
I really like even just simple bass players, but who can do a really effective, simple line like a John McVie from Fleetwood Mac. I think is awesome. But in the beginning, I really nerded out and loved Stuart Ham. I remember seeing Joe Satriani in concert, and I was the biggest nerd about seeing Stuart Ham play bass.
Cool.
Cool. People like Jack Bruce I like a lot too. I really like a lot of different bass players.
Cool. And it's kind of a funny one. I'm really curious to hear what you say to this. What is your best party trick?
I don't really have a good party trick to offer up, sadly, but I do. At my last party at this house, there were some computer speakers left behind by a former inhabitant of this house, and My
were
friends.
Were they like spooky or something? Like
Well, my friends blew them up. Like they played the Britpop like so loud, and they were jumping up and down, and they literally blew up.
blew up.
So that's not really a party trick. It's more of like a party event that
Yeah.
happened. Yeah. So
Did
don't
you
really have any
record it?
tricks.
Like these days, if you didn't record it, it didn't
it
happen.
didn't happen. So yeah, it's just a story at this
Okay,
point.
it's
Yeah.
just a myth.
Yeah.
It's just a myth. Amazing. Okay, so no party tricks, but lots of party events.
Yes. Correct.
Awesome. Now, what is the first album you remember falling in love with?
That's a good question. It was Platinum Blonde, Alien Shores. I was really into like Canadian pop when I was growing up. And then after that, it was like Glass Tiger and stuff like that. So it's really funny, like, because Sean has done some playing with Alan Frew from Glass Tiger. And he also plays with Coney Hatch, which is a band that I fell in love with as well when I was younger. So it's really fun to see like Sean, my bandmate, play with these people that I first fell in love with.
That's super cool. Would you say that you have like a soft spot for Canadian artists?
Yeah, there was a certain sound in the 80s, you know, like I felt like Canadian bands were doing what they could. You know, if they didn't have the budget of like a Bryan Adams, they were just trying to sound kind of as British or as pop as they could. And
Sure.
But we also kind of have our own influences. And where I grew up, I drew a lot of inspiration from like Detroit and hearing a lot of Detroit radio. So for me, it was a balance of the two.
So kind of like Kiss type bands?
Yeah, more like actually more like R&B and stuff like that.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Whatever was also on the top 40 at that time. So.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. I totally agree with that. Okay. What would you say is your favorite lyric of all time?
I really love Joni Mitchell. I think she's amazing.
Totally.
She just has a way of like saying things in her own voice and not adhering to any like, you know, sometimes not adhering to rhymes or anything like that. But on the other hand, I love things like Iron Maiden that, you know, draw from old stories and history. And it makes you realize there's so much more to write about than just, you know, your feelings, which is where I sort of come from.
So interesting kind of question coming up here. So if you were stranded on a desert island and could only bring 2 albums or records with you, which would those be?
Oh, that's a good question. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, probably. Just never disappoints.
Also in the popular culture now, again.
Yes, that's true. And then, who else do I love? Probably Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Because you're going to need something soft, and then you're going to need something to get you going for when you got to hunt for food.
Yeah, no, exactly. Excite you, and then when you're crying because you're lonely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I think you'd be set.
Beautiful. Okay, I think that's a good balance. Who is your biggest musical influence?
That's a really good question. I can't narrow it down to one band.
It's hard.
But I will say, again, like growing up where I did, I got a really amazing cross-section of like Detroit R&B, like Motown, and then Canadian pop.
Yeah.
Which I think was influenced by Britpop. So, you know, I really love like everything from Peter Gabriel to Guns N' Roses and, you know, like, so, yeah.
So Detroit R&B, can you like pinpoint maybe a few artists to give us an idea?
Yeah. And you know what? They may not have been from Detroit, but
maybe that was the sound.
Yeah, like artists like Shaka Khan or Anita Baker or people like that.
Cool.
Yeah. And I know that that's not really what trapper is, but I think like even Sean draws from so many different genres. And I think in a way it kind of shapes our sound. So we're just not all like, we only listen to metal or we only listen to rock. Like we're informed by all these other things that we grew up with.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things that Sean and I talked about is intertextuality, right? And you know, and that's what kind of gives your band unique voice, is all those influences that you guys were individually influenced by, right? Cool. That's super cool. So kind of like Detroit R&B meets Canadian pop. Awesome.
And then like, you know, Frank and my other brother Tony were listening to a lot of rock that I would never have listened to, right? So like Blue Oyster Cult or like Tom Petty and like Dokken and stuff like that, and Def Leppard. Like I would never have known about those bands if I didn't have brothers, I think. So
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Amazing. Okay. So what was your first paying music gig?
Oh man. My first paying music gig.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was in a play when I was 11.
Mm-hmm.
It was called Annie. I was a orphan
Okay.
without any lines. I made $50 for the whole summer.
Really?
Yeah.
So I guess that counts.
Yeah.
Like just barely, but it counts.
Well, it was cool because you could see that you could make money from doing something other than chores, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
For sure, for sure. So you were one of those kids that had an allowance, is what you're saying.
If I had one, I don't remember it, so it must not have been very high. So yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
But my parents ran a newspaper, so if we did odd jobs, we get paid.
Yeah.
So
Awesome. Awesome. Did you often feature in plays? Like that was kind of a
no,
or that was a unique thing?
It was just a one-time thing at that point. Yeah.
Awesome. And did you like fall in love with it when it happened, or you were like, I kind of like, you know, or was that sort of the thing that veered you into music performance proper?
No, it was just sort of a one-off thing. And then when I went to Fanshawe for MIA, then I sort of assembled a band out of there. And then I had my first real paying gigs in Toronto and stuff like that.
Sweet.
And I mean, I don't think we got paid very much, but it was, you know, it was fun to just start doing it and start making money.
Yeah, that's what it's all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doing it. Amazing. Okay. So, and what hypes you up for a live performance?
That's a good question. Well, I think it depends who you're around, like who's in your band. I've never been more happy than when I'm playing with Trapper, because you just know that no one's gonna really, like, if someone makes a mistake, it'll be very minor and no one's gonna get mad. It was even like that with Bowie. He never got mad if someone made a mistake, right? So this whole thing of like doing everything perfectly is kind of not what it's about. And being really prepared. So I always do my warm-ups. If I don't do my vocal warm-ups, I'm never really that good. And yeah, just seeing the audience getting into it. So we played at the Bell Center in 2015, opening for Def Leppard, and we played a song by a band called Corbeau, who are like a celebrated Quebec band, and it just totally like blew the roof off the place. And that's something that really gets me excited, is when I'm playing something that people really love, you know, and it just lets them forget about life for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. Would you say that being on stage like is where you feel most alive?
It's one of the places. I think it's definitely what I'm meant to do, you know?
You just know.
Yeah. It's a combo of like doing it for a long time, but also just it feels natural, you know? So.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. What 3 pop culture icons, living or dead, would you like to party with?
Oh, man.
Are you much of a partier?
You know what? Not so much anymore.
Okay.
Not so much anymore, but yeah. Okay, I've always, well, a pop culture icon. So how famous do they have to be that to qualify?
I will leave that up to you.
Yeah, okay.
And you know, it can be living, dead.
Oh, dead. Well, then there's just so many.
So many options.
Yeah. Well, Prince would be pretty fun, I think.
Absolutely.
You know, it's too bad we didn't get to hang with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Stevie Nicks. I think she'd be pretty fun to hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like Aretha Franklin, maybe? Some good stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of Prince, do you think that like would you ever have a desire to like play in his band?
A desire to play in his band?
Yeah. Because I know he often kind of lines up his band with like female.
Yeah, he picks good people.
Yeah.
I never thought about that. I really did want to join Peter Gabriel's band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but then I got into Bowie's band.
Yeah.
It sounds like such a, I don't know. No, it was fun. But I actually met Donna Grantis, who played with Prince, and she's been very transformed by playing with him, and she's a really great guitar player in her own right. So.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So if your life was a song, so I'm gonna answer this in two questions. So if your life was a song, what would it be called? Now the first part of the question is if it's an existing song, but the second part of the question is if it's a song that you were writing, what would it be called? So an existing song first.
Okay, Welcome to the Jungle.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
And then a song that I would be writing?
Yeah, like if you're like, this is a song that encapsulates my life. What's it called? What's the title?
Welcome to the Jungle Part 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So your life is pretty wild, is what you're saying.
Internally very wild, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
But externally not.
Not so much, yeah.
No? Okay. I mean, you've had some pretty cool
This
interview in your life.
This interview is pretty wild.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think it was super wild, but okay. I'll take that as a compliment. Amazing. Okay, cool. And if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
I mean, it'd be great to be invisible sometimes, but a superpower, I think I would love to just probably just make everyone get along. That'd be a pretty awesome superpower.
That is really cool because I think that complements really well with what Sean was saying earlier today. Because he was basically just like, it was something along the lines of alleviating everyone's problems. You know, like having the power to alleviate everyone's problems. And so that goes along with it. It's like, you know, and I feel like mine's a little more selfish. It's more like I want to be able to operate at optimum capacity without any sleep.
Oh,
ever.
Yeah, right. That's really awesome.
Yeah.
Between the three of us, we could make some
we
positive
could make some
change.
stuff happen. Yeah, we could make some stuff happen for sure. All right, so this is speed round. We're going to run through this really quickly. You have like a second to answer each
Okay.
one. Okay, so it's kind of like a this or that.
Okay.
You seem scared.
Well, yeah. 1 second. That's not long.
The first one I feel like is really easy.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll start easy and then it'll get progressively harder. So this or that. Leather or lace?
Lace.
Lace. Okay. I did not expect that.
Just it's cooler.
Vintage or new?
New.
Okay. Window or aisle seat?
Window.
Yeah. Okay. Acoustic or electric?
Electric.
Handwritten or typed?
Handwritten.
Handwritten.
Mm-hmm.
And playlist or album?
Playlist.
Totally.
Yeah.
I get you. I'm with you there.
Yeah.
And coffee or tea?
Sadly, coffee.
Why sadly?
Well, you know, kind of amps you up in not always the best way.
Okay.
But
you don't just crave that coffee in the
yeah,
morning?
I do. I do. There's nothing wrong with it, but
No. Okay.
yeah, I'm trying to wean myself off it a little bit.
Oh, yeah,
Doesn't make any sense to do it, but anyway.
For sure. Especially if you have like a Starbucks coffee habit, like that's an expensive habit to have. The electric makes a lot of sense. Why playlist?
I actually really love seeing what people pick for their playlists because it just tells me so much about what their favorite songs are. Whereas an album is sort of like one artist's, like it's a snapshot of their life, right?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm looking at it from a fan perspective.
Yeah, I love that. Cool. All right, we'll move on to the next question. If you were given a free plane ticket to go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Wow, that is a good question. I would love to go to New Zealand, actually.
Okay.
I heard you're supposed to go while you're young.
Okay.
While you can still get up the mountain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so why New Zealand?
It just, like, I see a lot of similarities with New Zealand and Canada. Maybe because it's next to Australia and we're next to America. And it's also so far away that I would never think to just be like, oh, I'll just hop on a plane and go there. It seems like sort of like a dream destination, you know?
Yeah. It like takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
It's like you can't just be like, oh, I'm going tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to go to like India or I've been to Iceland, which is great. I know this is not what you're asking.
No, please.
But I loved Iceland. It was great.
What did you do in Iceland?
I actually sang it was like a Bowie tribute there.
Cool.
Yeah, and it was I missed the Northern Lights. I was on stage. It was a real tragedy.
Was it outside?
No.
Oh.
No. I mean the Northern Lights were outside,
No,
but
of course.
I was
No, it says-
Were they outside? But
Oh my God.
Yeah, it is great when music takes you to those places. And also would love to go to Germany and play in Germany. And that's one of our goals in Trapper too.
Yeah. So in Germany, like in terms of goals of playing in Germany, so like where in particular, do you have anywhere in mind, like any festivals?
Well, Sean knows all the festivals over there. I did a little touring in Sweden and I love it there too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's just been always something intriguing about their love for rock there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've also seen how fans are in like places like, England and Sweden, and just kind of really amped up and excited. And it'd be great to, there seems like there's a culture of going out there, whereas we really have to plan for it. Like if we're going to go and do something, it takes like, okay, we're going to,
And we're always so
our tickets
busy.
are like on the fridge. We're going to, let's like make a
Yeah.
night of it. But it seems like over there, and I found this when I toured in Ireland, that, it's just like easy kind of, people go out a lot after work, and
Sure.
going out's kind of just, it seems like something they do more there.
Mm-hmm. And just a quick side question, I guess, like aside from Germany, with Trapper specifically, where do you guys see yourself going in terms of touring and stuff? Where would you like to explore?
Well, we'd really like to start here in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to kind of be thankful for about the communities around us, right? So we would probably play like here in St. Mary's or in Sean's hometown of North Bay. Maybe go to Sarnia. Like start small, right? I really like just really connecting with people, and I think we'll start there and just kind of build it.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Got to start local. Okay. What's I guess this kind of leads into the next question. What's your favorite place you've ever performed? And I guess what was the context?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I have to say playing in Montreal with Trapper in
Really?
2015 was probably one of the highlights, because I've done these big shows with David Bowie, but I was a backing vocalist.
Yeah.
And as a solo artist, even though it was a great gig, it's sort of like everyone's attention is always on, the legend as it would be, right?
Right.
So then when we got to open for Def Leppard, it was an awesome chance to just like, here I'm fronting this amazing band. When you get off stage, you got friends with you. Yeah, and just also then like enjoying Def Leppard after. It's just, it was like a full circle moment, because one minute you're like in your bedroom listening to Hysteria, and then the next you're, Joe from Def Leppard is saying, you can use my catwalk, just walk out on the, just
Wow.
do whatever you want. And it was really great, a great full circle moment.
So you know him personally then?
Yeah, I met him when I was singing with David Bowie.
Super cool.
Yeah, he's a big Bowie fan.
Wow. Yeah, I think there's something different about, being a front person,
Mm-hmm.
in a band. And it just, I feel like as an artist, and I can relate to this, you just have a longing for that crowd, the crowd giving to you,
Yeah.
instead of you being a backing or supporting person.
I mean, I like supporting sometimes too, because
Absolutely.
you can just kind of hide back there and,
Yeah.
do your own thing.
Yeah.
I like both. So, but in that case, it was great because it was like a packed arena and
Yeah.
Saturday night in Montreal.
Totally.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And that just sounds good too.
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. And what's the best concert that you've ever been to?
Okay. The best concert. Weirdly, I really like seeing Boston.
Yes.
Yeah, they were like, because I'm such a fan of singing, and they have the harmonies down, like it's like 6 or 7 part harmony.
Yeah.
And I loved that. I love classic rock, so I loved seeing them.
Where was that?
It was at the Molson Amphitheater.
In Toronto.
Yeah, were you there?
I was not.
Okay.
I'm glad I gave that impression though.
Yeah. I'm sure there are others. I mean, I don't really go out that much to see concerts.
So here's a question for you. Since like you're very much into kind of the singing technique side of things, what are your thoughts on Adam Lambert?
I think Adam's great. Yeah. Just as from a technical standpoint, he can definitely like pull it all off. Yeah.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Cool. Like him and like Tori Kelly are
Oh
my
yeah.
favorites for
I
sure.
love Tori. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, thanks for sharing that. What does rock mean to you? Rock.
That's a really great question. I think it means that, like, just being yourself. And it's like growing up now, it's so different from growing up in the 80s. Like, obviously, like going to school and going to high school, you always wanted to be cool and whatever. But I feel like the pressure's so much more on now. And I feel like music, especially rock music, lets you either escape from that or just kind of accept, who you are. And like all the bands I love are just doing their thing and not worrying about, what they look like or whatever. So yeah, just kind of about being yourself and finding happiness.
Being authentically you.
Mm-hmm.
Just channeling that uniqueness.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. And just a follow up to that, I guess, what does creativity mean to you?
I mean, creativity is sort of, I guess, it's almost essential, I think, for everyone, whether you're like a business professional or you're a music artist. The ability to be creative in everything you do, I think, just makes it so much more interesting for everyone else. Even like as a parent, like you want to be creative with how you approach things with your kids. And also as a woman, I think it's important to be able to express ourselves. And even to this day, we see a lot of that not taking place, So I'm hoping that through like arts and discussion and awareness, like people can put their creative spirit out more, across different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like one of the ways we can really connect with each other.
Totally. All right. What is the best piece of advice you have ever been given?
It was actually a guy, well, he calls himself Buonamoto. He's like
that's intense.
a Kenyan percussionist.
Amazing.
He told me a long time ago, he actually, I was in a reggae band when I was 19 in London, and he said to me, you have to respect yourself enough to ask people to play with you. Because at that point I was sort of like waffling over asking musicians to join a band with me, and ever since then I just always thought like that's really interesting, right? Like we sometimes think we're not good enough all the time, and it's like just the way that you asked Alex here to play with you. Like you just have to, like, who do you want to play with you? Who do you want to make music with? And I'm glad I got that advice, because I think it definitely plays into Trapper and how, I literally just approached Sean on Twitter and said, why don't we be best friends?
Yeah. Like literally? Like that was what you said?
Yeah.
That's
well,
amazing.
I thought, like, he plays with Helix and Nelly Furtado at the time. And I was like, why am I not like great friends with this person?
And you had some sort of connection to Nelly Furtado's band as well?
I mean, I met Nelly, but she picked one of my albums as a Desert Island disc.
Oh, wow.
So that's
pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, there's always, in the Canadian music business, everyone knows everyone though, too, right?
True. It's like a huge country, but small industry.
Yeah,
almost.
exactly. Yeah.
Amazing. I love that advice. I totally relate to that. What are 3 things you can't live without?
Okay. My boyfriend, my son, and my daughter.
There we go.
Yeah.
Your family.
The cat is 4. Can I include the cat?
Yeah.
I can kind of
honorary.
I can live without the cat.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Okay. Hopefully you didn't hear that. Okay. Cool. No, I love that. Sean said Sean said his family, friends, and guitars.
Oh, you see?
It's like it makes sense.
I really went specific.
Yeah, you did. Well, that's the beauty of these, right? It's like we're all doing it separately. It's amazing. What is one goal in the future that you're determined to achieve in your lifetime?
Well, to be honest, it's kind of about Trapper and making sure that we play more than 3 shows.
Yeah.
Because all we've done are these 3 shows.
Right. Yeah.
And
And
just
they're pretty awesome shows.
they were great. I joke that we started really high and then there's nowhere else to go. That's not really true. We played some other shows, like
Right.
warm-up shows and stuff like that. But like to take this music to a wider audience would definitely be something that I'd like to do.
And kind of more of a, I guess, a heady type question. What in particular helps keep you grounded?
Oh, that's a good question. I guess like talking to people, you know, whether it's like friends or like checking in with my girlfriends, you know, talking to my partner about stuff, talking to a therapist. Like the more we talk, the more we can kind of air out all the feelings that we have that are swirling around in us. And I think for a long time, I put a lot of those feelings into songwriting. And that was great, but it only gets you so far, right? It's like, okay, I got a song, but I still have my problem.
Need to resolve this.
Yeah, and I think that's where we really need other humans. And that's why I think the pandemic was tough for us because we just we just need each other, right? So talking.
Yeah, no, we got to express ourselves for sure. And we have to understand we're not alone.
Yes, true.
And I guess the last question I have here, I do have a few quick follow-up questions for you, but what is the one thing you're most looking forward to?
Probably just kind of like turning a new page with life a little bit, like probably be moving into a different house at some point. And you know, I've done a lot of coaching and I've written this book and stuff, so I tend not to like think too much into like what, you know, how the future is going to be better than the present, because I really do love like I love making music right now. I love making music with Trapper and just writing new stuff. So yeah, I think my life has been very like just live in the moment. I think I'm more in the moment than I give myself credit for. So, you know, adding up these moments and kind of like, you know, having kind of even a new family situation is kind of exciting to look forward to.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome. So last question that I have with you is, again, bringing it back to Trapper. What are your guys' plans for the future? Like what's exciting that's on the horizon? What do you hope to achieve? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we have an idea to put together a holiday show, which I think will be great because it'll really bring people together. There's not a lot of like rock and roll holiday shows, but also just keep releasing new music, because I think people who love 80s rock, you know, we listen to the same songs over and over again, you know, and I think we really pride ourselves on like channeling so many of our influences into something slightly more modern. So, and it's so great to play with Sean and Tim and have Frank record everything. It's really great to see how 4 people can make something so kind of energetic, and we love each other, you know. It's like a real awesome family.
Amazing. Well, we look forward to seeing what you guys cook up in the next little bit. Again, thanks for joining us, everyone. This has been Emm Greiner of Trapper, and this, again, is the Who is Trapper segment. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
No problem.